Bond. James Bond.
This is about Bond. James Bond. Bond has been on an incredible journey over the last half-century. In these 50 years, Bond films have made legends out of characters. Bond dialogues have been mouthed by generations.
The name's Bond. James Bond.
Bond movies thrive on a packaged formula of guns, girls, gadgets and glamour. In 50 years, there have been 6 Bonds.
The name's Bond.
James Bond. The Bond girls are as much a part of the film's attraction as the secret agent himself, keeping the screen sizzling and having the audiences salivating for more. In a James Bond movie, the villain is always dangerous and fascinating.
Bond was very bad.
Bond may win in the end, but the villain is often even more charismatic than the super spy on Her Majesty's Secret Service. In the last 50 years, 23 Bond films have been released, making it the longest running film series in history. So let's talk Bond. James Bond.
Bond. James Bond.
The latest James Bond installment, Skyfall, got a royal seal of approval, with Prince Charles gracing its premiere in London. Unlike his previous 2 films, Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace, an emotionally charged Bond has given way to a much light-hearted one.
Happy Bond. I just have fun with it. I mean, that's what you got to do. You know, it's a rare thing to do.
The action gets deadlier with this installment. For this Bond, it just seems a cakewalk.
They're never that tough. They're what they are, and you just have to make them as bigger and as good as you can. And I try and take as much part in them as I can.
While throwing kicks, punches, and knocking off the opponent with swanky gizmos seemed to be this spy's forte, the Bond girl, however, found it challenging to display her rough and tough side.
It's much tougher than I thought doing action stuff. I have a real respect now for action heroes.
This time, the super spy has rolled up his sleeve against villain Raul Silva, played by Oscar winner Javier Bardem.
The movie was great, the character was amazing, and the people. It's always about the human nature of the people, in the sense that you're working with human beings, and that's what makes the difference. In this case, it was a great group of people.
French actress Bernice Marlowe plays Silva's girlfriend Severina, and she was thrilled at being part of the movie.
I felt connected with the Bond movies since very young, so I knew instinctively what I wanted to bring. And Sam and Daniel are so amazing because they are beautiful human beings with a wonderful sense of humor.
Critics have already declared the movie as one of the spy's finest. But can Bond really top the performance that he gave earlier this year, when he was truly on Her Majesty's Secret Service?
For half a century, some of the most thrilling scenes in cinema have been performed by Britain's foremost secret agent. And as the 50th anniversary celebrations of James Bond movies begin, many exhibitions, events and evenings will mark the special occasion. The launch of a new TV channel, Sky Movies 007, the release of a collection of iconic film posters, a Christie's auction of 007 memorabilia. The list for the commemoration of Bond's 50th year is endless.
The name's Bond. James Bond.
Christie's auction of 007 memorabilia to mark the 50th anniversary of the first James Bond film drew massive response in London. The sale is the first to feature memorabilia from 23 Bond films. The 400 items on display include Bond's wardrobe, the white bikini worn by the first Bond girl, dresses worn by different Bond girls, props, gadgets and set pieces from the movies.
I can't think of anyone.
Roger Moore, who played Agent 007 in 7 Bond thrillers, was among those who introduced the items for sale.
His name is Bond, James Bond, but we all love him as Sir Roger Moore.
You must forgive the assistance that I need to get up here. I'm not quite as young as I used to be.
Many of the items were donated by EON Productions, the maker of Bond films. The bid was to raise money for various charities, including UNICEF.
It's raised so far £369,000 for UNICEF.
One of the most sought items at the event was the 2008 Aston Martin two-door coupe driven by Daniel Craig in Quantum of Solace. It sold for £241,250. Other items on sale were the complete works of Ian Fleming, the Spy's creator, Craig's blue trunks from Casino Royale, and a pair of earrings from Skyfall. A navy wool Tom Ford suit worn by Craig in the latest movie also fetched £46,850.
007 reporting for duty.
The 50-year anniversary celebrations also included releasing of a selection of the most well-known movie posters from the Spy franchise. From 1962's Dr. No to more recent releases, the collection of film posters shows how each Bond release was promoted around the world. The posters have been collated into an artwork book, James Bond, 50 Years of Movie Posters. The book release coincided with 50-year anniversary celebrations. We have seen movie networks beaming Bond series before every release, but here's a new. On the occasion of 50-year anniversary, British broadcaster Sky decided to launch a new channel, Sky Movies 007. The move comes after Sky secured rights to all 22 original Bond films, as well as the 2 independent titles. London's Barbican Centre is celebrating the half a century of the secret agent's flair and style in an exhibition called Designing 007 50 Years of Bond Style. The exhibition is also a celebration of the staying power of the 007 film franchise, faced by the onslaught of more modern offerings. Inflation corrected, the Bond franchise even beats the Harry Potter phenomenon of recent times. And as the saying goes, the bond with Bond continues.
I'm gonna kill him first.
In a James Bond movie, the villain is always dangerous and fascinating. Bond may win in the end, but the villain is often even more charismatic than a super spy on Her Majesty's Secret Service. Let me give you an example. In the 23 Bond movies till now, and the 24th coming soon, have you ever heard any of them be called James this or Bond that? Never. But 2 Bond films have been named after their villains, Dr. No and Goldfinger. So without a captivating villain, Bond could lose his powerful appeal.
Bond. Bond.
No hard feelings, Mr. Bond.
Your time is up.
Well.
The 5 decades of Bond has done one thing exceptionally well: create really good bad guys. The larger-than-life, megalomaniac, power-hungry baddies are essential to making the hero look good. Ian Fleming's Bond saw the Soviet Union as its biggest enemy. With escalating tension between the 2 countries, Bond movies like Octopussy portray slightly deranged Russian generals.
I feel lucky. Shall we double?
It was in the post-Cold War era when we see a deliberate attempt to find other international foes for inspiration.
He put a bullet in his head. That bullet's still there. He feels no pain. He can push himself harder, longer than any normal man.
But now the legacy of evil evolves to portray vulnerability in a world going digital.
3 months ago, you lost the drive containing the identity of every agent embedded in terrorist organizations across the globe.
Gone are the days of gold heists and world destruction. The 24th Bond and Skyfall will be fighting cyber terrorism. So no matter what devilish style, ethnic origin or political climate, every Bond villain is a reflection of his era and are the right villains for the time.
Let's talk Bond. James Bond.
Bond. Bond.
Well, some years before the Bond people approached me, I'd had great success with a series called Sandokan in Europe. And they were very keen to internationalize the appeal of Bond by bringing in foreign actors. So they asked me when I was living in Hollywood. And of course I said yes, because to be in a Bond film is a very special thing. We came and we shot the film in Udaipur, in a very beautiful scenic location, which is supposed to be the headquarters of Octopussy, played by Maud Adams.
Vijay, we have company. No problem, this is a company car.
And we had some great times shooting in Udaipur, all the action scenes and all the thrilling chase scenes. And in fact, it's an institution in Udaipur even today. They keep playing Octopussy over and over and over again.
Spend the money quickly, Mr. Bond. I intend to. Kamal Khan.
Roger Moore is a very sophisticated, aristocratic person. He's very reserved. But over the course of filming, we became fairly good friends. And we shared a lot of time together when we were shooting in Udaipur, because there was a place called Shivnivas, which is part of the Royal Palace of Udaipur, where we were all staying, which overlooks the Lake Palace. So in that atmosphere, we were literally, dining together, breakfasting together, sharing a lot of time together. Villains are always the most fascinating and dangerous people, because the more dangerous the villain is, the greater the achievements of the hero. And there have been a lot of villains, a lot of wonderful villains, but my personal vote goes to Donald Pleasence, playing the role of Ernst Stavro Blofeld.
I am Ernst Stavro Blofeld. They told me you were assassinated in Hong Kong.
And Blofeld is a very interesting character, because although it's the same villain, he was played by 4 separate actors in 4 separate films. So, but I think Donald Pleasence was the most menacing of them all. Well, I had a very lovely personal equation with Roger, because he's a great human being. But I grew up with Sean Connery as the iconic Bond that defined the role for me. So he has to remain number 1. But I will say that I think Daniel Craig really reflects the spirit of Bond as written by Ian Fleming the best. And he's brought a sort of rugged grittiness to the role, which I think is terrific, and I salute him for it. There's a lot of good Bond films, but I have to say I did enjoy Casino Royale. Because not only did it have all the girls, glamour, gadgets and all the rest of it, but it had an emotional Bond, which was a real step forward. And I thought Eva Green was probably the best Bond girl ever. You know what's interesting about Bond films is that they took action to another level of sophistication. Action films were generally seen as a B-class genre. They took this genre and made it in an A-class way with A-class production values, A-class stars, and of course they brought in sexiness, they brought in all the gizmos, guns, gadgets, glamour. And altogether the mix works very well, because the reason why this franchise is so successful is that you know certain elements that you are going to see in a Bond film. And yet you want to be surprised by the story. So you want the predictable, but with a twist that surprises you with the setting, the location, the issue at hand.
The name's Bond. James Bond.
That's what makes Bond so long-lasting.